Okay, it is finally here. Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave Direct, a ton of more information. I know I'm a little bit later than I would like to with this, but it doesn't matter, we're here. So what I'm going to do, I've already watched this trailer once through, we're going to do the usual. We're going to break it down little by little, watch certain parts of it, and then do the breakdown, and we'll talk about a bunch of different things. It's going to be a long one, so stay tuned for the long haul, I guess. So we kind of saw a little bit of this in the last trailer. We saw this green-haired lady. She looks like she's going to be a dragon, and she was holding a baby in her arms. And this kind of looks like a dragon's face. If you look at the little ears here, sticking out a couple of eyes, it's kind of structured like one of the dragon's faces. So she says it's the advent of the underworld, so it's coming somewhere from the underworld, and she's holding a baby. So I'm assuming this baby is the Demon King, and they'll talk about this a little bit later. But I'm assuming this is going to be one of the major plot points for this game.
The second birth at the advent of the underworld.
And here we're seeing a bunch of enemies that are cloaked in sort of the purple shroud. This usually means like they're reanimated, zombified enemies or something that's controlled or possessed. So I would expect us to see a bunch of those. Also, we're seeing both flyers and wyverns. This one clearly looks like a dragon with teeth, so this is probably a wyvern.
You never win the battles ahead without them.
Okay, so let's rewind this for a little bit. I think this is Sothis' voice saying we'll never win the battles ahead without him.
Win the battles ahead without them.
And we're cutting to 4 statues of our main protagonist, and here you can see Theodora's head is broken off as well. So this kind of implies that it's a little bit of a older or a post-war phase or something like that. A bunch of armors on spikes here, as you can see as well. This is Eshmel. We saw him in the last trailer coming down and killing an enemy.
We need as many as we can recruit.
Actually, I thought there wasn't anything here initially, but this kind of looks like the turn wheel in the back, just a clock with an indication of time. So I'm anticipating time is going to be something pretty important in this game too.
The Dagdan Empire, a land at the peak of prosperity under the rule of the gods. In the capital city of Daxian, bustling markets, ports teeming with trading ships, temples to the gods, and other establishments line the crowded streets. This is also where the heroic games are held in tribute to Dagda, the Empire's first and founding king.
This is interesting because if you take a look at this trident here, this looks very similar to the weapon that the teal-haired character was holding. I don't know why I'm blanking on her name. The one with Dietrich. But yeah, Dagda, this is what he looks like. I don't think we've seen this statue before. And you can tell clearly it's a dragon because of the ears and the way he's standing. So interesting. They showed us like a couple of little introductory scenes or images of the city. I don't think there was anything in them for me to really go back and analyze. But statue of Dagda. There's also a couple of heads hanging from this. I wonder if this is just the way that the statue was made, or if this is going to imply anything specific.
Heroic games have begun!
It's said that Solel, the current ruler, will grant one wish to whoever wins the games.
So we knew about this. We knew this guy was the Divine Sovereign. We didn't have his name until now, I think. So Solel, it's good to know. Interesting that Sothis also has a name that starts with S-O. So I wonder if there's any sort of relation between the two. Potentially. Let's see. And then we also hear again about the one wish that's going to be granted to anyone who wins the heroic games. Again, we knew about that. It's a big motivating factor to a bunch of the 4 protagonists that we've seen so far, they're trying to win these games to get their wish granted.
Those vying for the
That is actually really funny. Hold on. I'm back into that a little bit. So is someone literally like throwing this wagon at this guy's name is Creek, I'm pretty sure, because this wagon's just flying through the air at him. I wonder if someone just like launched it. We know Theodora's really strong and she can actually throw things. We saw her throw a wheel in the previous trailer, so that would be pretty funny.
those vying for the prize hold strength, determination, and undying convictions they refuse to yield.
These are all clips that we saw before. I think the one person that we hadn't really seen was... Where is she? The dark-haired girl that looked like she was holding a gun. We'd seen this guy before, and I think that's Dietrich right there in the bottom right corner. Yeah. So this lady here, I think we've seen her on the map before, but we've never had a full frontal view of this gun kind of gauntlet that she's holding. And now we do, and it looks like it's got a little bit of a smoke coming out of it here, so looks like a gun to me. She's got some pretty intense eyes, pretty intense look in her face.
Determination.
Determination, I guess that's one way to say it.
Convictions they refuse to yield. The story revolves around 4 heroes who have entered the heroic games.
4 houses.
Who you choose will determine how the narrative unfolds as they fight for glory.
We expected that, so they're going to tell us about each one here.
Kai is a young boy living in the peaceful village of Ribera. On his 15th birthday, his
All right, there's Kai's dad. So I was wrong about the blonde guy with the curls, with the dreads. This is Kai's dad. He looks much more like him, so that makes sense. And he's also seen with this guy, who some people theorized was Kai's dad, but I'm assuming they're all kind of related in one way.
father is imprisoned beneath Daxian for crimes committed.
We don't know what the crimes are. Okay.
In hope of a peaceful life as a family, he sets out with his childhood friends to win the heroic games and save his father.
Simple enough story. We knew that. 3 childhood friends saving the dad.
Dietrich, ever in search of a stronger opponent, is attacked by an enormous monster while sailing a stormy sea.
So this is kind of like a whale thing.
He then washes ashore in the foreign land of Dagda. This is where, between battling bandits and beasts, he learns of the heroic games. To slake his thirst for battle, Dietrich decides to compete in the heroic games with new allies at his side.
That settles it. Time to hit the road. To Daxian.
Esmeralda, that's what her name was. She was holding a trident in one of her videos. So, okay, so Dietrich's story is not much different than what I had theorized initially. He was on a boat somewhere, got attacked by a big beast. I wonder if one of these beasts was like the crest monsters that we had seen in 3 Houses, except one of them was swimming in the water. We had never really explored the ocean very much in 3 Houses, so it's very possible that how there were land ones and wind ones, there's probably an ocean one. So it would make sense. He got attacked by one. He wounds up on the shore of Dagda. He helps out a couple of these people, saves them from bandits, and then they all band together and they form a team and they decide to go and compete in the heroic games. So we've got Kai trying to free his father. We've got Dietrich, who kind of just wound it up there and wants to go to the heroic games to satiate his bloodlust or his will to fight. And now we're going to see a little bit about Theodora.
Hailing from the kingdom of Ceramus in the south, Theodora represents a culture that worships the keeper of death.
This is interesting because they're saying the culture worships the keeper of death. I'm assuming they're talking about this lady here. If you kind of look at it, this kind of actually looks like Sothis with the long green hair and the flowy dress. I don't know.
And night, a goddess loathed throughout the lands.
Euphos is the name.
Restore the honor of her goddess and defend the faith of the people and the peace of her kingdom. Theodora leads her veteran retainers into battle with the goal of winning the games.
So she's doing it for a much more nationalistic or probably a little bit selfless of a mission. She just wants to restore I'm assuming, kind of the reputation of her people and the goddess that she worships. I'm more curious to see why there's this bad reputation to this goddess. They call her the goddess of death. Usually whenever a name like this is given, it's given for a reason, but the motivation of it or the reason behind it can be somewhat unclear. So I'm assuming from Theodora's story, we're going to learn a little bit more about this goddess. Are they incorrectly named? Is there some prejudice against them? Is this a wrong label? So that sounds a little bit interesting. We also saw the big elephant riders and the 2 retainers in that story mode, so that's pretty cool. Lida time!
A young woman born into prestige and blessed with musical talent, Lida is consumed.
Okay, so this is very important to Lida's story. I'm assuming that this guy in the golden armor, sorry, I'm trying to back out frame by frame here to see if we can make out anything, a face or something, but that is probably Lida's dad. We've seen this cutscene before with her sort of having her hand extended out, and we knew that that was Lida. There's a couple of different things to look at in this picture. This person here, I can't really make out anything about other than the golden armor, and then there's this crest here on his cape. Now, if we look, it's got another crest in here, and it also has kind of an insignia here with the axes crossed. Now, this crest here is the crest of Dominic in 3 Houses, if I'm not mistaken. The interesting thing is that Lida actually had the crest of Dominic in one of her cutscenes. So I have to wonder if this was some kind of internal dispute here between 2 factions. The one from her father and the one from whoever this person is with the axe that's swinging it down. The other thing I need to note is this one here with the 2 crossed axes and what looks like to be something with horns. Let's see if we can move forward a little bit and see this in a more clear manner. It doesn't look like we can. Yeah, it's not very clear. That's probably the best I'm going to get. So I'm not sure what this insignia is at this point. I would have to go and do a deeper dive and see, but I do recognize the crest of Dominic on this cape immediately, and I know that Lida has had it.
Consumed by rage following her father's murder at the hands of an unknown assailant. Having given everything to seek revenge, she eventually learns of the killer's plan to participate in the heroic games.
Alive! I will kill him.
To bring an end to the man who murdered her father, Lida heads to Daxian with supportive companions in tow.
Okay, so we knew about Lida. She's here for revenge for her dad being killed. We kind of knew about that before, but it was more interesting to see. And then we got a quick glimpse at the people who are with her, so we know about Sirocco and Moo.
Bring an end to the man who murdered her father. Lida heads to Daxian with supportive companions.
And this warrior guy whose name I'm blanking on right now. It'll come back to me at some point.
In tow.
I'm sorry, Theodora.
That's interesting. Kai holding this glowy lance. I don't know that we've seen this before. I can't remember exactly if this is something important or if we know where it's from, but I don't think we've seen him holding this specific lance before. I might be mistaken.
But I won't be letting you take the victory today.
Good to note that Kai's eyes are already red here. So we've seen in the beginning in his early cutscenes, even in this direct itself, they were gold. But in the heroic games where he's competing, the eyes are already red. So whatever happens to turn and change his eye color is happening between pretty early on in the game, I would say.
If victory is decided by conviction alone, then I think it shall not be up to you.
I have burned to duel you, white-maned demon.
So the white-maned demon, this is important because Lida just mentioned him. So I predicted in one of the early trailers that this is the person that Lida wanted revenge on, and it seems like I'm correct because she mentioned it in a previous cutscene that the white-maned demon is alive and that she's pissed. So this is the person who Lida wants to fight. It's interesting that Dietrich is going up against him.
I have burned to duel you, white-maned demon.
Now you see Lida and Kai.
I'm sorry. Failure is not an option for me either. But that's only because I don't have any choice!
Going into each match, you'll choose your party members and their initial.
Interesting. So we've got guests on the map. So I'm assuming the guest units are the ones that we saw that were more teal colored. And then here we have the units that we actually have. So this is Kai and his crew and this guy. And this is a new character that I don't think we've seen properly before, but her name is Sophia. She is a diviner, and we'll talk about the classes in a little bit more depth later.
Placement on the field.
And you get to place them. So Kai is green just because he's probably force deployed, but then we get to choose our 4, and then these are our 4 guests. Now, if we go back, I think the guest units were locked. Yeah, the guest units are locked, so you don't get to change them. What you do get is to choose from your own list of characters.
Then let the battle commence. Each unit's movement range is shown in blue.
Huh, blue movement.
And their attack range in red.
And the attack range is in red. I wonder if that means anything. I'm definitely going to have to sit down, like maybe I'll do a full analysis video on the movement range being in blue and the attack range being in red. Obviously, I'm joking. I think this part of the video is just kind of teaching us how to play Fire Emblem, which is odd. You can see we have the threat range toggle that comes back, the settings for the game itself, and then we've talked about all of these before, so the cursor can show you that this is rubble, it's inaccessible, it's got 0% avoid, so every terrain that you hover over, it'll show you like the avoid, what it is, and like all that stuff. So here you see ground, and then you can see the 3 houses sort of attack ranges are back with the red lines that come to the characters that are going to be targeted by the enemy. These were always pretty inconsistent, so I don't know how reliable they're going to be, but they are here.
It's completed their actions. Your opponent's turn begins. You'll take turns moving and fighting across the map.
What I also think is interesting is these little purple lines, so I wonder if these are like traps or premeditated enemy attacks that are going to dash towards you. And then here in the middle, we see this is the statue of Dagda with the little 2 heads that we got to see earlier on in the trailer. I don't think there's anything really too different in the story. Or in this map, sorry. I wonder what these yellow indicators are. There's 4 of them, so I'm not really sure.
You engage in fierce combat.
Yeah, so that was definitely an enemy that was going to dash to a certain area, and then once you killed him, he vanished, as you can see that. So here we have the victory conditions: defeat Benditz, which is the enemy general. The defeat conditions for us are Kai, Dietrich, or Anatolia. So we have a name for this lady here, Anatolia.
Includes defeating the opposing leader, among other conditions. The 4 heroes and their allies can utilize various means of attack. Swords are straightforward and easy to wield.
Classic.
Gauntlets make it easier to evade attacks. Spears deal massive damage to cavalry units.
Okay, I thought I was looking at that wrong. So this attack is 39. In red, it probably means there's a bigger multiplier to the attack.
Axes have low accuracy, but high attack power. Bows strike enemies at a distance and can deal fatal blows to flying units. And magic is effective against foes with heavy armor. It can also heal or otherwise support allies in dire situations. There are also swords that call down lightning, gauntlets that look like firearms, and other unique weapons to find.
Okay.
Positioning is a
So let's take a minute to talk about the weapons. So it seems like they might have done a little bit of an overhaul for the weapons specifically. So swords have not been changed, and it looks like axes haven't really been changed either. I mean, they've always been sort of high strength, low hit rate weapons. Lances are now effective against cavalry, which is interesting, but it does make sense. Bows also seem fairly unchanged. They're effective against flying units and attack from a distance. Gauntlets seem to have gone through a little bit of an rework, unless I'm misremembering. So it seems like they're focusing more about dodge and swift blows. However, it also seems like gauntlets have gun potential and they can fire from distance, I believe. Let me go back and see.
gauntlets.
So these are specifically dodge gauntlets. Did they cover them separately? It looks like.
And magic is effective in dire situation. Firearms armor.
Okay, so these are separate by themselves. So let's talk about magic first. So magic seems to be effective against armored units in addition to healing and buffing, which we already knew about, and we talked about
Also
bows.
heal or otherwise support allies in dire situations.
These are more like sort of special weapons here. So you can see the Levin sword or the magic swords. This is a new character that we haven't seen before, Pepe. And he's using a Levin sword, which is a magic-based physical or sword weapon, which we've seen before. This isn't anything new.
There are also swords that call down lightning, gauntlets
And then gauntlets that seem to be magic-based or guns.
that look like firearms, and other unique weapons to find.
And other unique weapons. So it seems like we're comboing the weapons and making things different, which again, Fire Emblem has done this before. We have things like the Bolt Axe and the Flame Lance, which are 1-2 ranged weapons that are magic-based. We've never had guns before, so that's kind of new. I'll give them credit for that one.
Positioning is a key element of combat. When you strike within an enemy's range of attack, they might counterattack.
I didn't really get what they meant by they might counterattack. Does that mean that some weapons or some people do not counterattack at close range? Because they said if you attack someone who can... Or unless they mean that you kill them and they don't counterattack?
They might counterattack.
Or they'll miss? I don't know. I didn't want to read too much into it.
Attacking those equipped with close-range weapons from a distance. And get up close
Diego, we saw this guy loosely in one of the videos recently sent out. I think he was with Dietrich's crew. Myrmidon.
and personal against long-range opponents to avoid counterattacks. The terrain can also give you an advantage.
Yep.
While adjacent
Classic Fire
allies
Emblem.
receive buffs.
There we go. So support buffs. We had been theorizing about what these little hearts are, and it's clear that these three units all have supports with each other. And so they are getting, I'm not sure what PRT is, but hit plus 3 is fairly easy to tell the difference. I wonder if PRT is just party.
Take advantage.
Okay, so each person is giving them a specific buff. So this guy was giving 3 PRT and 3 hit, and Sirocco's giving 10 avoid and 5 crit.
Of the situation to control the battlefield
I'm assuming this is magic and resistance. I don't know what these new stats are called.
in your favor. Combat arts are attacks unleashed at the expense of weapon durability. There are attacks with greater power, longer range, or other advantageous effects. So use them in decisive moments.
Sorry, I zoned out with the combat arts a little bit.
Greater power, longer range, or other advantageous effects. So use them in decisive moments.
So they didn't tell us much new about combat arts. They take up durability. We already knew that before. So you have to use them sparingly and make sure that you use them in proper situations. Realistically, unless the weapon breaks when you use its full durability or the repairs are super expensive, these are things that are going to be used quite liberally. But I like the way that they've balanced it.
There are also special moves that consume your soul in exchange for power, called Blaze Arts. Kai releases a burst of otherworldly power from his hand to cast flames in a wide area.
So we knew about this one.
Dietrich's ink black cloak can warp him to locations on the battlefield that aren't easily accessible.
It's kind of broken.
Theodora uses the power inherited from her ancestors to rend the earth and hurl it at foes. Lita plays her Vihuela to buff allies.
Who's this? Kind of looks like Shamir. Interesting. Very interesting.
Summon a powerful monster, and more. These special moves can turn the tide of battle, but at the cost of the hero's health points. Additionally, if your allies fall in battle,
I think I need a break.
you can turn back time.
No! My inner elitist, the turn wheel is back! I'm not really surprised. It's a part of the series at this point, but yeah, there you go. Confirmation. We get a turn wheel. There's something called a divine sand here. And I wonder if this is kind of like your limit
To any previous
to how far you can
battle.
rewind.
So don't be afraid to rethink your your strategy if
It doesn't really show. But yeah, okay, let's go back and talk about these special combat arts. We knew about them already, but there was a couple of interesting things that were mentioned.
There are also special moves. Kai releases a burst of otherworldly power from his hand to cast.
Okay, burst of otherworldly power. Now, this clip specifically, we've already seen before, so this isn't anything new. Consumes his own HP. He sends out this massive AoE attack that can kill a bunch of units all at once. It seems pretty broken.
Dietrich's ink black cloak can
Dietrich's cloak letting him warp is actually very interesting because it means that the cloak has some magical power element to it, unless they're just using this to show off something. But having the cloak warp him seems like it's some kind of like magical relic. He's already got the sword, so I wonder if the cloak is also something that's different or unique.
warp him to locations on the battlefield that aren't easily accessible. Theodora uses the power inherited from her ancestors.
Power inherited from her ancestors. Again, I wonder if this has anything to do with the crest that she had initially. But again, seems like inheritance. And this knight person here that we haven't seen before is also on the map with Theodora. So I'm assuming it's a universal recruit.
To rend the earth and hurl it at foes. Lida plays her Vihuela to buff allies. Summon a powerful monster and more.
Interesting that the monsters are green units. Probably means that we can't command them, but I guess that's fair if they're super strong.
These special moves can turn the tide of battle.
Because that seems pretty busted. Almost on par with Kai's destruction kind of skill. And then, yeah, we already talked about the turn wheel. We can skip through this again real quick.
Things don't go as planned.
All right, classes. This is pretty exciting.
Based on their class,
This is nice. This is actually really nice. You get unique outfits for the classes.
such as Shido, who are skilled with swords, Bardingers, who fight on horseback, and bishops, who use white magic.
I'm a big fan of these outfit swaps.
A unit's abilities can change.
Units' abilities can change. I'm assuming this just means the growth modifier and the base is changing based on what class you're in. So if we're being anything like Three Houses or even Engage, the unit's going to have their base growths and regular base stats, and you're going to add on whatever the base of the class plus the growths of the class are. I do a breakdown of this every time a game comes out, so you can definitely expect I will do a deep dive into all of these details once again.
Change dramatically.
So yeah, this Myrmidon, I mean, HP, speed, and dex, pretty predictable. Cavalry class with HP and strength. I think these are a little bit of a tankier class. You can see their magic is really low, and then the defense is also kind of on the middling tier. And the bishop being resin magic is no surprise.
The weapons they can wield and their range of movement also vary.
Yeah, I mean, this is all pretty typical.
Classes are divided into beginner, specialty, and advanced.
Interesting. Very interesting. So the beginner class, kind of the same kind of concept that Three Houses had. So beginner, they changed this middle tier to be specialty. Previously, the middle tier was advanced, and then it went master. So I wonder why they're calling this beginner, then specialty, then advanced. It's kind of interesting. But here we can see sword, bow, lance, mounted, I guess, and magic. I'm assuming this is just the generic gladiator that can use all weapons. I think they explain this a little bit later on in the video. So your beginner class will allow you to then specialize into any one of these, or a few different ones of these, and then go into your advanced class. So there's going to be a lot of potential for interesting combinations. Clearly here we have the armor knight layer. I don't see a magical class here. This is gauntlets, 2 bow classes, a mounted class that goes here. But then your bows are also in 2 here. This is more of the physical one. You can go 1, 2, 3. This is more of the sword dodgy one, 1, 2, 3. These I'm assuming are 2 magical classes, but I don't see one in the middle. So I'm sure there's a lot more classes than just these.
Beginner classes are the
These classes look pretty nice. I'm not going to lie. These outfits, the characters all look really cool.
foundation.
Nezha, I don't think we've seen this character either.
Gladiators excel in handling weapons. Diviners can wield magic.
I don't think we've seen Dante either, so they're throwing a lot of new recruitable characters at us.
And Orneus riders can
This one we've
cover
seen.
ground. There are 5 beginner classes in all. Specialty
We haven't seen this guy either. This guy reminds me of Gonzalez. And wasn't this the boss from from earlier? And this rider we've seen before.
classes have more specific abilities. Armored knights boast iron
Goliath. What an apt name. Gonzalez Goliath. I love it. I love it. This guy's going to be fun. I can tell.
ironclad defense with heavy armor. Wing soldiers can leap obstacles and cover long distances,
Nothing new.
while charioteers can strike multiple enemies in a straight line.
So this guy has the little rose Tempest insignia, so it sounds like he might be a recruitable with Lita later on, I think, unless I'm reading this wrong.
There are over 10 to attain.
Yeah, he's blue on the map with Lita's people, so seems like someone who's recruitable with Lita.
Soldiers can leap obstacles and cover long
They're calling this Wing Soldier now.
while charioteers can strike multiple enemies in a straight line.
This is going to be busted, I'm telling you right now.
10 to attain. Advanced classes
So 10 specialty classes. It sounds like 5 beginner classes, 10 specialty classes. Let's see how many advanced. That's Anna. That literally looks like Shamir.
are masters of their skills.
Is that a name? We'll see in combat. Hold on.
Cataphracts have the mobility of horses with the
Io is the name. It's a dude. Looks very similar to Shamir. Interesting. With Kai's team.
diffracts have the mobility of horses with the defense of heavily armored units.
The Great Knight. Noted.
Guardians are skilled with both spears and white magic.
Spears and magic. I don't think we've seen that combination in Fire Emblem, but that's an interesting combo.
Plus other classes that possess a combination of strengths. You'll also find the overwhelmingly powerful elephant riders
Anna on an elephant.
and other classes
That's pretty
that
funny.
fight
So maybe people were right about this being Seteth. I don't know. I was pretty skeptical about it initially, but, it might be. It's the same name.
while astride giant beasts.
You defeat me?
The voice acting does sound kind of familiar, actually.
Between matches, you'll have time to get ready for what's to come.
We've seen this before. So it's showing us the main battle, how many units we can deploy, the level target that we should have, suggested classes, suggested items to bring with us, and it's telling us to prepare. I don't think there's really anything else new to look at here.
You'll receive some useful intel about your next opponent. So use this information while exploring Daxian, or venturing off to improve your team's prowess in battle. The time is yours to spend.
So delicious.
All of these we've seen before.
Let's look at some of the things you can do in Daxian.
Cool. So activities.
The Arena Plaza is where you can receive additional training once
And I think we've seen this one before where we're getting more training.
per week in the time between matches. As your skills improve,
So you spend gold once a week to increase the support points between these two units, the specific masteries that they have in terms of their weapons and other stuff.
you'll learn new moves to use in battle and be able to wield increasingly stronger weapons.
There's that spear again.
On match days, you can watch battles between other participants unfold to
Ah, interesting.
research your opponents.
That's pretty cool.
Shopping arcade. You'll purchase weapons and
I'm trying to just scan the weapons here, but it doesn't look like there's anything too exciting. I see a javelin and a hand axe, and we can see that spears are effective against cavalry, even the javelin, which is also kind of interesting. That's going to be a little bit broken, I think.
tools, or enhance your weapons using materials you've collected.
So weapon refinement is back. It looks like enhancing the iron bow to +1 really only increases the might, and +2 also only increases might. I hope it's not just a might increase, and certain different weapons can specialize a little bit differently. Show us another one. Come on.
This temple
No!
is watched over by a bronze statue of the divine sovereign and is home to 7 temples.
Hold on, I gotta take a look at these statues. Is this the same person? I don't know who this is. I can't really tell. There's no real like crest for me to analyze or anything to look at too closely.
And is home to 7 temples.
This looks like a mage guy. Also got the dragon ears. More of a warrior.
Depending on which temple you volunteer in, you'll acquire a blessing to use in battle.
Ah, so these are the gods that we have. And we acquire blessings to use in battle, so that's interesting. They have different crests here that we're looking at, so let's break them down one by one. So this one on the very left is having the crest of Goneril, which is Hilda's house. Interesting. This third one is the crest of McQueel. Monica had this one. This is the crest of Aubin. We've seen it with Kai, Yuri. And this one has the crest of Daphnel, which is Ingrid's. So Aurora, the one with the crest of Aubin, was having all damage taken, it looks like. Hold on, let me back up to tell you exactly. Halves damage from physical attacks for 1 turn. Divine Sand is how much it costs to buy. Halves damage from magical attacks for 1 turn. And level 3 neutralizes Underworld Boon on foe for 1 turn. So I'm assuming these foes have blessings that you can get rid of. I don't know if you can have more of these active at the same time, if you can use more of them, one of them at the same time, if you can serve all of the different temples. I'm assuming you probably can. This one is a big magic buffer for your mages. Smyrnos is the name. This is Mars. So you're increasing your hit rate, restoring HP when defeating a foe, and strength +5. Interesting. This looks like you can use it very well on like a big berserker kind of enemy.
Defense, such as a temporary stat buff, having the damage you receive, and more.
Okay, this is clicking to me now. Remember how we saw all of the crests on the characters in the gameplay and we kept theorizing whether or not they actually have those crests? They're just equipped with the blessings from serving those temples. That's the feature. So they're not descendants of anyone, they're not related to the dragons, they're just worshippers that have been granted the blessings of those specific temples that they're in. This makes complete sense now.
Speak to an exam proctor to take a certification exam.
So these are... Oh my god, that's so funny. Wait, I gotta go back to that. Hold on. I have to go back to that. The Dietrich is a dreadnought. That's that looks kind of wrong, but it's pretty funny. Interesting that the dreadnought only has 4 movement. That's kind of gonna suck. But yeah, you can see super high defense and strength, lower speed, higher HP. The rating, I'm assuming, is the overall. Strike last, defense +5. This is probably if you go second, you get more defense. Combat arts +2. I'm assuming that's the level of your combat art or the damage that combat arts do. I don't know what focused counter is. Interesting. And this costs an advanced license. So he's going from a tier 2 to a tier 3. And on the list here, we see Warrior, Sniper, Forest Knight, Dreadnought, and Bardinger as well. And we see also the requirements for progressing as well as the level requirement, which is interesting. So to get to an advanced class, you want to be level 35, which... correct me if I'm wrong, but that's quite a bit higher than it was in 3 Houses. Ovate is another class that I can see here. It's got kind of like a little Anubis head, so that's probably a magic class. Sounds like kind of a buffer tier of class. And here we can see the Bardinger has Aegis, combat arts +2, mount and dismount, which we knew about, excels in strength and speed, and this is more well-rounded kind of the paladin class with the lances and the swords and the mounted.
The chance of success depends on...
I don't like that they zoomed in on this because now I have to back out and see if I can catch anything before they zoom in. But Ovate is a black mage class that has Black Magic Seeker, Magic Hit +5, Bind Speed seems to be a debuff on an enemy, and they only use black magic. Now here you can see that because Dietrich's base magic wasn't that high, he's going to get a little bit of it as well as speed, dex, and resistance and defense. So the contribution from his bases will be kept, but you'll lose some magic boost from a modifier if he was more specialized. And this is only a magic-based class cutting through heavy armor.
Success depends on who's taking the test and the class.
See bishops on there too. Will they zoom out for us? They won't, of course. What did they jump to back there?
And the class they're aiming for.
White magic and magic heal +10. We can't see the mastery ability of the bishop just yet. Shido, combat arts +2, sword crit +5, and we can't see the mastery here either.
So be sure.
Fatal damage makes it seem like these ones might have assassination, where they'll one-shot you.
Here they have the necessary skills before applying.
To attain the pleasure I seek.
You can also receive quests from townsfolk. Complete them by the given deadline to receive reward.
So the reward was gold and fish for completing a quest. I don't know how worth it these quests will be to complete. There's probably going to be a fair amount of garbage quests and then a couple of pretty good ones that are going to give you nice weapons, promotion materials, stat boosters, stuff like that.
You never know who might ask for your help.
In this matter.
This is interesting because this is the Divine Sovereign, and if they're going to give us like pretty good story-relevant quests that give us lore, I'm a fan of that, so I would love that.
The Divine Sovereign? Why would someone of your stature be here?
Recruitment!
You can also
We've seen this character a bunch of times on the map, has gauntlets.
recruit powerful warriors you meet in Daxian.
So these are random people in Daxian that you can recruit. So there are some that are completely general, and this is what I theorized before, because previously we had seen Lita recruiting her, and now we're seeing Kai recruit her. You failed to recruit because you need support level 3.
First, try giving them gifts.
So bribe the units on the map, and you'll recruit them. It's kind of similar to the way it was in Three Houses. If you get a B support with any unit, it's an automatic recruit. Here, I'm assuming we've seen between 1 and 5, so 3 is kind of that middle tier, so I'm assuming that's B support too.
Or invite them to share a meal.
Yes, feed them, bribe them.
That might be enough to win them over.
I mean, food's the way to my heart too. I'm not saying no.
At inns, not only can you
So at inns is where you have your group meals.
lodge and eat, but you can
All right, we have a list of characters here that we've seen a bunch of. I don't think we've had a name for this guy. So we see it's Guzran or Guzran. Yang Ji, we haven't had a name for this guy. Io Noctula, we just got a name for her. Nidine and Kirok, I don't think we've seen this guy either. So a bunch of units that we haven't seen before, and I'm assuming a lot of these units are more generic. I don't want to say generic, but like more universally recruitable is what I had meant.
inns. Not only can you lodge and eat,
Rent a room, for a turn to restore HP, magic, and motivation. So I'm not sure what exactly that means. We haven't really acknowledged what motivation means. But I'm assuming when you do activities, you're losing specific stuff here, and so you're sort of resting, you're wasting a turn to heal up. And then it looks like there's going to be allies that can farm materials and stuff for you.
but you can let time pass to gain experience and gather materials automatically.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is going to be a massive micromanagement simulator here. It is what it is, I'm guessing, but this is kind of how we had assigned specific training tasks to all of our characters in Three Houses. This is coming back here in sort of a different fashion. And you can decide how many turns you want them to do specific activities. Yeah, it's exactly the same. So they'll level up, they'll gain weapon ranks. They can either find you gold or items or stuff like that, because you can see here, you have Esmeralda searching for items, you have Michaela going for combat. Guzran here was also going for combat, so he leveled up and increased his weapon ranks.
Characters who've grown close may converse and show their support to each other here too.
We knew he had a sister, so this isn't breaking news.
Oh, and can I get a raise? Then I'd be psyched to work even harder.
Thanks, Kai. I came here to say I was pulling for you, but it went the other way around.
As your
Fan service?
journey continues, you'll gain access to even more facilities.
Remember this for a long time to come.
This is the Pale Raven's Perch, a spot where a mysterious white bird rests its wings. From here, you can swap to a different hero. Progress is saved for each of the heroes, so playing through all 4 of their stories in parallel is an option.
This is fantastic. So they took the feedback from Three Houses where it sucked to play through the first half of the game over and over and over again to reach your branching path, and now you can advance the stories in parallel. I don't know if I would ever really do this, to be completely honest, but it does make it seem like we're going to have a difference in the beginning of the stories, and it might actually be 4 genuinely unique paths. So we'll see. I just want to go back and check the description for each of their stories in case I missed anything here.
so playing through all 4 of their stories in parallel is an option.
I have to go back
A
further.
spot where a mysterious white bird rests its
Nothing new
wings.
here. Well, Fellblade Answerer, that might be new. I don't know that we've seen that before. And it's also showing the strengths here, which is interesting. I wonder if that's just his personal strengths.
From here,
Yeah, it might be. Assassin to slay her father and take her right arm. What? This arm isn't real. I didn't know this before. Did anyone notice this? And her name is also Breaker of Armies.
a spot where a mysterious white bird rests its
Hell's Eye.
wings.
Ravishing Shadow. That makes sense with his cloak.
From here,
Breaker of Armies, Theodora.
you can swap to a
Siren of the Sixth String. I mean, that's kind of boring because we know that she has the Vihuela. Seeking to kill those named in a list left by her mentor, Madel, before he died. She enters the heroic games to kill her father's murderer. There's no telling where this bloody journey may bring her. Okay, so she's out hunting a list of names. That's pretty badass.
different hero. Progress is saved for each of the heroes, so playing through all 4
I love
of
this
the
change,
stories
by the
in
way.
parallel
This is
an
fantastic.
option. When you venture outside of Daxian, you can explore areas
Okay, let's look at this slowly.
across the continent. Time passes every time you move, so plan your expeditions carefully. Visit towns to purchase local wares,
Anything you'd like?
or gather information that could be useful on your adventure. Travel with your allies to improve everyone's abilities in battle. Enemies will randomly appear on the world map.
Yeah, so, I mean, it doesn't look like this is anything too crazy, but here you can see the appearance rate of different items that you might need, and you can see the level of rarity of these items. That's so annoying. There's like what looks like normal rarity, mid-tier rarity, and then high-tier rarity, depending on the stars in the different ones. So I'm assuming that's just the rarity of the materials, and the higher level the skirmish, or, you know, the further advanced you are in the story, the higher tier materials you're going to find.
When you encounter one, a skirmish will begin.
So skirmishes are back, that's not new.
Earn experience points by felling your foes.
And I'm guessing the higher the difficulty you play in, the less skirmishes or time on the overworld that you have. And it's interesting that every single point on this map has a different name for it, which is kind of nice, actually.
Also find dungeons.
Yeah, so here we go. You can see the dungeons: Smithing Stone, Thunderstone, Woot Steel, and Umbral Steel. So these items are actually, I think they were in 3 houses before too. But here you can see the rarest kind of item here, and Lita's level 21.
Where you'll collect materials for strengthening weapons,
Nice.
along with other treasures.
Interesting. That's very interesting. So I don't think we've ever had like consumable items with buffs like this before. I wonder how rare these are going to be, but like, yeah, a critical nullification for an entire turn is actually pretty nice. Attend the Aragonian Banquet. Very, very interesting.
When you encounter enemies roaming in a dungeon,
Robots. We've seen these before with the pipes as well.
a turn-based clash that differs from normal battles will begin.
I don't know how I feel about this. So we're going to like Final Fantasy turn-based RPG kind of thing. It's interesting. We'll have to see how this shakes out for Fire Emblem.
That differs from normal battles.
Maybe it's just faster.
I suppose I must. In clashes, you can perform attack combos with your allies. Plus, each of the 4 heroes can use abilities that are unique to them. For instance, Dietrich can flush out enemies in hiding.
I wonder if these enemies are here as like an ambush kind of thing and he's exposing them, or if this is generating more enemies for you.
While Theodora can recruit soldiers in towns,
She makes battalions.
send out her assembled troops to gather materials, or deploy them in battle.
Will not miss this chance.
We have seen this one before.
Need some help.
Make the most of these commands to enhance your power of battle.
Dancers.
I don't know what that really means. Learnable mounted ability. Is this specific to Kai, or is this going to apply to all of the mounted units? I don't know. That's interesting.
To enhance your power battle.
And Lita just gets more materials. Seems legit.
Bold warriors, draw now upon your strength. Hold fast to the devotion in your beating hearts. For those who stand upon the final stage, I shall grant whatever wish you may desire. So say I, the Divine Sovereign, that I vow to you. People of Daxian, hear me now as I declare that the heroic games have begun!
Couple of details for us to go back to here and look at.
Hold fast
So we see Kai firing off his thing.
to the devotion in your beating hearts. For those who stand upon the
These cutscenes are actually quite fluid.
final stage.
But one thing I noticed, this guy's really strong compared up against Theodora. And let me see if I can catch this at the right time. His hand is blue, meaning that there's a reason that he's covering his face, and it's probably because he's got some kind of alteration in his body. So that's just something to keep an eye on.
So say I, the Divine Sovereign.
Dietrich's fighting some kind of beast and struggling here.
People of
And Lita's fighting this guy, the white-maned
hear me now.
dude who she wants to get revenge on.
Games have begun.
And now it gets interesting. Time skip! And we're doing 5 years again, just like Three Houses. And here we go back to the beginning of the story with the kind of worn down Daxian with the statues of the 4 heroes that are kind of like degraded. So I'm assuming that they've left their mark on the tournament. Kind of sucks how they would do this and kind of spoil things in a way. But I guess they have to keep us interested. It's Kai, Dietrich, Lita, and Theodora with her head busted off.
In time's flow, see the glow of flames ever burning bright. On the swift rivers drift, broken memories alight. I see that my song has finally reached your ears.
Five years after the heroic games,
Yep, 5-year time skip, and we've got these kind of zombified, possessed people.
at the hands of the revived demon god Balor.
Balor. Do we know who Balor is?
Even the 4 heroes who played a significant role in the heroic games have vanished. To confront the situation, the progenitor god,
The years
Sophis,
were long.
calls down a single soul. This is the story's true protagonist.
I don't know if I like this. I was hoping that this character would not be another self-insert avatar protagonist, and it looks like they are, albeit they're only relevant in the second half of the story where it actually matters. but it still feels kind of weird. Like we spent the first half of the game completely attached to someone else, and then we have this savior come out of nowhere. I'll reserve my judgment until we actually play the game and see how this is going to affect the story. But so face them alone with the knowledge that it's no easy task. Does this mean that we are going the church route, like Three Houses, where it's just Byleth plus whatever other house members you've recruited in a certain route, or you get to decide which units you want to recruit in a certain route? Or is this like a legitimate solo with a new group? That is my question here. It looks like we're also fighting like straight up dragons, which is interesting.
Or use the time-traveling powers of the goddess Fortuna.
Time travel!
To change the fates of the 4 heroes. You must carve your path.
I don't really understand what that means. So it's obvious that something happens in the story, that these heroes die or they vanish, or something happens where everyone dies. There's like this tragic turning point that causes the time skip to go crazy, and then Sothis is summoning this hero of time kind of character, the can't do anything wrong god type dude who's wearing white, who's coming to save the world. And he can either do it alone or he can go back in time and save people. So is our campaign a 5th solo route where all the heroes are dead? Or is our campaign now in the second half of the story us going back in time and saving one specific person? That's kind of what I'm understanding from this, but I need a little bit more clarification. Like, are we going to intervene in certain portions of the story to change them slowly to alter the outcome of these characters? I don't know that I really get it. Like, we're skipping ahead, but then we're going backwards. So is this a time skip? Is the time skip only for one route? What is the boss of those 4 routes going to happen pre-time skip or at the end right before the time skip? I have a lot of questions about how they do this. This could be really messy if it's not executed properly. But yeah, it seems like 5 routes.
In the hope of saving Dagda from destruction, those who join you in the future will strengthen the might of your assembled forces.
Those who join you in the future will strengthen the might of your assembled forces. So it looks like you already have people, and if you go back in time, you get to save one of them and add the forces from that route to your own. We're just going to have to see how this plays out, because right now it's very unclear as to how this is going to operate.
This is where your story begins. The end of the world at the hands of the demon god.
So earlier we saw the 4 different blessing temple kind of things. I wonder if these 4 pillars are similar to it, or if this is just some kind of coincidence and these pillars represent each one of the characters. Like, this is Theodora, this is Lita, this is Kai, and this is Dietrich, maybe. And Fortuna is the one that's like telling us to decide which one of them we want to add to our group.
Which path will you walk?
The rest is up to you.
Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave launches September 17th, only on the Nintendo Switch 2 system. Pre-orders are available now on Nintendo eShop.
All right, I don't think there's too much extra in here. I think the rest is all they're trying to get you to buy the special edition, and then they're telling you about their mobile app and Nintendo Music and stuff like that. So, okay, that was a lot. This is already like a super long video. Very excited still. We're about 6 weeks away from release, which is kind of crazy to think about. Also, if it sounds like I'm recording in an empty room that's full of echo, it's because I am. I've had an incredibly busy last month, and I moved to a new house. So, yeah. Anyways, things are stabilized, and I have my setup completely back as of yesterday. So, convenient timing. So, yeah, I don't know. We got a lot of information here. I think to sum it all up, we now have a confirmed 4 routes. We have a confirmed true protagonist with a 5th route, which, I mean, the meme is coming true. We had 3 houses with 4 routes, and now we have 4 houses, which is the sequel to 3 houses with 5 routes. So, the next game is surely going to be 5 houses with 6 routes, right? Some of the gameplay stuff were interesting. Seeing all the new characters was pretty cool. Seeing some of the new classes and the outfits that change with every character is really nice. I think they're definitely nicer generic outfits than that we had in 3 houses. The music, I haven't talked about the music, but the music in this direct was phenomenal. It was really, really, really nice. I actually enjoyed it a lot. I'm trying to find like a nicer screen to stop at for a still. Then there we go. Classes are cool. Everyone loves seeing the classes in these little sprites. So yeah, I am very, very excited to get some more information. I'm assuming the daily or like 2 or 3 times a week clips that we're getting both on like the Nintendo Today app as well as on Twitter are going to continue, because there's a bunch of units that we saw in this direct that we have not gotten videos for yet. So that'll continue. I haven't been covering those because I've been extremely busy. But once I think we're closer to having all of the characters, I will probably do more of a compilation-based thing. But before we end the video, let's talk about Balor, because I looked this up really quickly on the side, and Balor is a name that comes from Irish mythology. It's a leader of a group of malevolent supernatural beings and is considered the most formidable. They're described as a giant with a large eye that wreaks destruction when opened. With Kai being called Hell's Eye, this is kind of an interesting parallel. It could just not be tied together whatsoever, but Balor is clearly some kind of demonic leader from old mythology. And that's really the most that I can find about it that would be related to this game. He kills his grandson, Lou. Again, Irish mythology. I'm not sure that that'll be too relevant because here we're reviving this god as seen by that dragon carrying a baby. So I'm assuming that baby is Balor. But yeah, I mean, a lot of information. This is a long video, so I won't prolong it any further. I might follow, or I probably will follow this up with like a series of videos now that I've settled down and I have a little bit more time on my hands. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Subscribe for more coverage for Fortune's Weave. We are getting closer and we are going to go hard when the game comes out. Trust me. And I will see you all in another video very soon. Peace.